Hey weekend campers, in this video we're going to talk about a tip to make your camping trips go more smoothly. One of the easiest things that you can do to make your camping trips go more smoothly is to use some checklists. You know, checklists developed primarily in the military, and as an old military pilot, I used lots of checklists when I was flying Air Force airplanes. We had exterior checklist, interior checklist, before starting engines checklist, after starting engines checklist, before taxi checklist, before takeoff checklist. It just went on and on. But it was for a good reason, because the machinery was so complex that it was important not to trust people to remember it. You know, the whole idea behind the checklist came in the mid-1930s when the Boeing company took their brand new B-17A to Ohio, to what's now Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, for a demonstration in order to try to sell the new airplane to the military. Well, the airplane taxied off in front of all these high-ranking officers of the Army Air Corps, roared down the runway, got airborne a little bit, and then slammed back down to the ground, coming to rest against the side of a hill. Not a very impressive demonstration. When they got out and looked at the airplane, they discovered that the pilot had forgotten to unlock the elevator, one of the primary flight controls, which in this case helps the airplane go up and down. It directs the nose of the airplane up and down. And so obviously with no control over pitch, the airplane wasn't going to fly. Well, that was almost a disaster for the Boeing company. Fortunately, they had another couple that were nearly complete that they were able to fly to Ohio and demonstrate. And as many of you know, the B-17 became one of the primary long-range bombers in World War II. Now, your RV is not nearly as complicated as B-17, but there are some things about your RV that you probably want to be sure about as you get ready to go. One of the ways to do that is to go online and find some checklists provided by other sources. Now, the ones I use, I got from the Good Sam Club. They have their checklists online. I downloaded them. I copied and pasted the items into a Word document, deleted the things that didn't make sense to me with a motorhome, for example, things that mainly applied to a travel trailer, and then added the things that were unique to me that I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget. So I've got a kitchen stocking checklist, a food and menu preparing checklist, I've got the before departure checklist, I've got the setting up checklist. All of these things I've got with me, and I use them. I've got them here in a binder. I've got them in sheet protectors, and so I just use a little dry erase kind of marker, and I go through and check them off as I get them done to make sure that I'm going to maximize the chance that I'm going to have a successful camping trip. You know, when I was an instructor pilot in the Air Force with brand new young men and women learning to fly jet airplanes, the checklist was an interesting challenge for them. We'd begin our sorties with them going through the checklist item by item. Item 1, doing the item. Item 2, doing the item. Item 3, doing the item, until they became familiar with the checklist. As that familiarity grew, they would group items in the checklist together so that they would do 3 or 4 things and then check the checklist, then do 3 or 4 more other things and then check the checklist. But we would never encourage that they memorize the checklist, because that defeated the whole purpose of the checklist in the first place. So as you work through your checklist, I do that same recommendation. When the checklist is new to you, or you're new to your RV traveling, or you don't travel very often, maybe once every 3 to 4 weeks, go through the checklist fairly comprehensively, 1 or 2 items at a time. If you're doing it more often, and as you get more familiar with it, go through 6 or 8 items of the checklist, but then have it open on the table in your RV or in your kitchen, depending upon the checklist that you're using, and go through and actually check off the things that you have done, verify that you've done, so that you know that you've got them complete, that you've got them packed, and so forth. One of the other things about checklists that's kind of a hidden thing that really helps you as a weekend camper is that the checklist slows you down. If you're going to make a mistake, it's probably because you're in a hurry. And so taking the time to do that pre-departure checklist where you walk around your RV, maybe 15, 20 feet away from it, so you can get kind of that big view of it, so that you can see that you haven't forgotten to undo the cable TV connection, or that the slide's still out, or that the awning didn't fully seat. Those kind of things are best seen from a few feet away, and doing that walk around, much like a pilot does a walk around of his or her airplane before they take off, you too should do a walk around with your walk around checklist to make sure that you're ready to hit the road. The few extra minutes it takes to do that is going to be more than offset by the extra time and expense that you might incur if you were to drive away with the slide out, if you were to drive away with one of the storage compartments open and you're leaving a trail of your belongings down the highway as you head to your next destination. So my advice and my number one tip for you to maximize the opportunity for that RV excursion to be the best it can be would be to use an RV checklist. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please click the thumbs up button below the video and click subscribe to the Weekend Camper channel. If you click the little bell icon, you'll be notified every time I post new videos. Well, thanks for watching and happy camping.